Halloween 3 is probably the second greatest Halloween movie after the original, of course, even though it has nothing to do with Michael Myers and nothing to do with the Halloween franchise. Toy Story 3 is an absolute masterpiece. So ipso facto, by deductive reasoning, Snack Wars 3 should be absolutely amazing. Welcome to the semifinals of the Snack Wars, presented by the Fitness Hippie podcast. Holy shit, people, we are down to 4 competitors. If you have not seen episodes 1 and 2 of the Snack Wars, which I'm assuming you're not here if you haven't seen those two, but if by some small chance you are here in the 3rd episode of the Snack Wars without having seen episodes 1 and 2, this is your opportunity to go back and see what happens to the entirety of the 8 competitors, right? There's 4 head-to-head matchups over the course of the first 2 episodes, and we have dwindled down. We're just only down to 4. This is the semifinals of the Snack Wars in order to find out the most reigning supreme snack of all time, according to me. So if you have not seen it, you can find it on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Just search for the Fitness Hippie podcast and it'll pop up. You can watch episodes 1 and 2 because I'm about to spoil the shit out of it right now. This is your updated bracket. In the first episode, we had the almonds versus pistachios matchup, and pistachios reigned supreme. We had Rice Krispie Treats versus regular rice cakes, and Rice Krispie Treats laid the smackdown on rice cakes. And then the second episode, we had buttered popcorn versus Skinny Pop, and Skinny Pop didn't stand a chance. Buttered popcorn took that very decidedly. And then we had hummus versus peanut butter, and peanut butter moved on to the next round. So in today's episode, we've got pistachios versus Rice Krispie Treats, and we've got buttered popcorn versus peanut butter. So in today's episode, the criteria are going to be the naturalness of the food, like how many ingredients are there. You know, people like to talk about organic shit and stuff like that, and the price. One of the biggest knocks on healthy eating is the price. So we're going to see how much these snacks cost, if it is cost effective to you, and if that makes sense, if that is part of your lifestyle and your spending habits, if you have an emphasis on price. Let's get into the first matchup, pistachios versus Rice Krispie Treats. All right, so first matchup we've got, I had to rubber band them so they don't fall out. Satin, salt and pepper pistachios versus good old-fashioned Rice Krispie Treats. I tasted these in the first episode, so if you're wondering what the taste score was, I'll pop it in here. But, of course, go back and watch that episode if you haven't seen it quite yet. So the first criteria I'll go over is price. And like I said, one of the big knocks of eating healthy is how much it costs. And I think the cost fallacy, or I think the cost analysis of eating healthy has a little bit of a fallacy to it because it just depends on your spending habits, right? Because like you could go to Taco Bell and spend a very little amount of money and feed yourself a lot of food, or feed multiple people lots of food, or a moderate amount of food. But I can also go to Taco Bell and spend $20 fucking on myself. So it just totally depends on what you buy. You can buy things for cheap, but if I'm going to go to Taco Bell and spend $20 just for myself to eat, I could feasibly go to Wegmans and I can get a sub, depending on where you live, where you listen to this episode. You may or may not know what Wegmans is, just a supermarket. I can get a sub from there that is inevitably going to be healthier for me for like, I don't even know what a large sub costs. $12, $13? Somewhere in the $12 to $15 range. So it's actually cheaper for me to eat healthy in that regard. So depending on your financial situation, this may or may not be a factor for you. But I think in terms of the eating healthy is more expensive, there's a little bit of a fallacy to that statement. But that's neither here nor there. That might be a separate podcast episode. So if we go back and we see how much these things cost. So the Satin salt and pepper pistachios they were $4.99 for this bag. I taped off the bag. See how many servings are in here for $5. Nuts in general are very, very expensive. One of the more expensive kind of snacks that you can get. But I guess the reasoning behind that is because they're healthy. Serving size, or servings per container, about 3 of them. There's a very good chance. Okay, yeah, I'm trying to remember the last few episodes. So servings per container, 3, $5.90 or $4.99, $5 for 3 servings of pistachios. I know it's kind of hard to tell kind of how big this bag is for you guys watching at home or listening. If you're listening, you definitely can't tell. This is not a big bag of pistachios, by any stretch of the imagination, right? Kind of the only saving grace about the price of this is it might take you a while to go through this. If you really like pistachios, you might go through this in like a couple days, maybe a week. So if you want to spend $5 a week on pistachios, it's not like, I don't think it's budget breaking, but it is up there in terms of pricing of the snack. Because when we go to the Rice Krispie treat, there are 8 in this pack, and the Rice Krispie treats cost $2.49. 8 Rice Krispie treats, $2.49. So if you go on a serving basis, I don't know what that math ends up being, but 8 servings of Rice Krispie treats for $2.49 versus 3 servings of pistachios for $4.99, $5, $2.50. This is literally half the cost and more than double the amount of serving size. So when it comes to price point, the Rice Krispie treat is obviously healthier. And when I talk about the fallacy of healthy eating, this is not supporting my claim. Now that I'm kind of getting into it a little bit, obviously the Rice Krispie treats is going to be a little less healthy than the pistachios, and it is a lot cheaper. But that being said, if we go into the naturalness of it, I should probably give a score. So for the pistachios, $5 for 3 servings, I'm going to give that a 3 out of 10. It's kind of expensive per serving. Depending on, this is a sliding scale. Depending on what you get, you can buy obviously more expensive shit. But I'll give it a 3 out of 10. It's not the most cost efficient thing. This is very cost efficient. This is a 7 out of 10 in terms of how cost efficient it is. You get 8. Granted, the Rice Krispie treats are not huge, but you get 8 servings for $2.50. So as we kind of segue into the naturalness of it, the organicness of it, I'm literally just going to go through the ingredient list and see how many ingredients there are. So obviously things that are whole foods and that are natural and that are organic, you want to have less ingredients, right? So the main ingredient in lettuce is lettuce. There's nothing else. It's just lettuce. And obviously there are things that are created in the lab with many, many different ingredients, many of which I might not be able to pronounce. So obviously the more ingredients that it has, the less natural it is. So if we go to the ingredients list of the pistachios, you've got pistachios, sea salt, black pepper, and those things might not be there if I don't get the salt and pepper flavor combination of the pistachios here. Tapioca dextrin, extractatives of red pepper and extractatives of black pepper contains pistachios. So of all these things, I think a lot of it's just flavoring. So if you get regular non-flavored pistachios, your ingredient list might just be pistachios, right? And I'd be interested to see what that looks like for just a pistachio thing. So in terms of naturalness, this is pretty damn good. In terms of naturalness, assuming that, the sea salt and the pepper extracts are because of the flavoring of this, and that's just because I got a flavored pistachio, this is a 9 out of 10. 9 out of 10 for the naturalness of pistachios. But then when we go to the Rice Krispie treats, the ingredient list for the Rice Krispie treats is toasted rice cereal, and then it has a whole bunch of things in parentheses that go with it, which is rice, sugar, salt, malt flavor, some long word that I can't say, niacinamide, reduced iron, vitamin B12, folic acid, corn syrup, fructose, vegetable oil, sugar, corn syrup solids contains 2% or less of vegetable glycerin, dextrose, gelatin, natural and artificial flavors, contains milk, salt, datum, acetylide. I'm going to be exposed for not being able to read. I swear I can read. Acetylide, monoglycerides, soy lectin, BHT for freshness. What the fuck is BHT? I don't know. It's a preservative of some sort for freshness because you don't want your Rice Krispie treats to go bad. So what this makes up for, or what this lacks in ingredients, it kind of makes up for in price. So if you are on a budget, the Rice Krispie treat is obviously the way to go, $2.50 for $8. But if you want to have an emphasis on your health, this is a laundry list of ingredients. In terms of the naturalness of this is at the very, very bottom. I'm sure there are things that are worse than a Rice Krispie treat. I'm going to give this a 2 out of 10. So for this matchup, the pistachios had a 3 and a 9 for a total of 12 points, and the Rice Krispie treats had a 7 and a 2 for a total of 9 points. So when it comes to the price plus the naturalness of it, pistachios take the cake, and they move on to the finale of the Snack Wars. Last but not least, the final matchup of today, we've got Topps creamy peanut butter, and then we've also got Topps brand microwave popcorn. This is a gigantic box. So same thing, price and naturalness. So I had to look these up because I did not buy these. So this 28-ounce jar of Topps creamy peanut butter is on Instacart right now because Topps doesn't have, they have a website, but I don't know, couldn't find it. This jar of peanut butter is $3.09. There are 25 servings in this container. The likelihood of you getting 25 servings out of this container is impossible, right? You're definitely going to go through this within 25 scoops, right? Most people do not have just one serving of peanut butter ever. So in terms of cost efficient, a little bit more than the Rice Krispies, but we're not comparing those two, but just, to compare everything, $3.09. You'll get a decent use out of this. That is not a bad price whatsoever. In terms of a score for price, it is going to be kind of comparable to, the Rice Krispie treats. So I'm going to give this another 7 out of 10. In terms of the popcorn here for a 6-pack of this very same popcorn, this is an 18-pack. So assuming you triple the fucking price here, a 6-pack is $2.99. $3 for 6. It is 50 cents per popcorn bag. The popcorn is a lot. You get a lot out of a bag. And I would like to retroactively say, as I was recording and as I was editing the last podcast episode 2, where I did a taste test and a nutritional information on the butter popcorn, I said there's like 105 calories for this, and I was like, that doesn't seem right. I looked it up. It's like really like 300 or 400 calories for an entire bag of popcorn. So I was like, that doesn't sound right. And even as a fitness professional, the nutritional information on popcorn is very, very confusing because there's different numbers for everything. So if you go back in that, does that mean that Smart Pop beats out the microwave popcorn? No, it's too late for that shit. Because I think even per cup, the microwave popcorn is still less calories than the Smart Pop. But 50 cents per serving, not as good as the popcorn or as the peanut butter, but you do get more per serving. You get this whole fucking bag for 50 cents. So I would say I'm going to put it right next to it at a 6 out of 10. Last but not least, list of ingredients. The creamy peanut butter has dry roasted peanuts, sugar, hydrogenated vegetable oil, salt, and molasses. So not a very long ingredient list for this. That is pretty damn good. I'm going to give this another 7 out of 10. And then for the popcorn, we've got popcorn palm oil, contains 2% or less of each of the following: salt, natural flavor, annatto extract, which is color, and TBHQ preservative. So I guess in terms of, does this one say preservative? No, but I'm sure there is some sort of preservative in here. I'm not a nutritional scientist, but this has to be preserved in some way, shape, or form so that it doesn't go bad on a grocery store floor. But in terms of just the amount of ingredients, this popcorn does have a little bit more than the peanut butter. An upset that I did not see coming. I think the popcorn is going to get knocked off because for the nutritional information, for the naturalness of this, I'm going to give this another 6 out of 10. Ingredient list is not very long, but it has preservatives. It has stuff that's not going to be naturally occurring in nature, obviously. Neither does the peanut butter, but it's kind of seems like it's less. So another 6 out of 10 for the naturalness of the popcorn. In conclusion, the peanut butter had a 7 in both rounds of this podcast, giving it a 14 out of 20 possible score, and the popcorn had 6s for both scores in this podcast episode, giving it a possible 12 out of 20, which means peanut butter is moving on to the finale of the Snack Wars and will face Pistachios head on. This is a battle of nuts. In the final episode, we're going to go nut to nut and see who reigns supreme in the Snack Wars, presented by the Fitness Hippie Podcast. Hopefully you enjoyed this episode. If you did, consider hitting the subscribe button wherever you're watching or listening, on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. The finale of this podcast, the finale, not the podcast, but the Snack Wars itself, will come out in 2 weeks' time, and we will see who reigns supreme in the Snack Wars. I will see you guys in the finale. Peace out.